Hi everybody, it's Michael Murren. I decided to do my presentation via broadcast via YouTube. My presentation is on rape versus sexual assault. I see that many states have different views on how to define rape or sexual assault. Some states don't even use the word rape in criminal court, and it's my belief that the main reason behind this is to ensure a fair trial. Is it really fair, though, to the victim? Of course not, but in American society, the belief of innocent until proven guilty reigns true in many states, which led me to do this research paper, just to see how many states actually want a fair trial and how many states actually want justice, because a fair trial would be a trial in which the victim would be able to accuse the defendant of whatever they believe happened, and then let a jury of reasonable people come to their own conclusion based on facts and evidence, not based on the use of an offensive word to smear the defendant's credibility if the defendant were to actually be innocent. I started my research by looking into how many states have rape defined by law. And the answer is, there's no nationally accepted legal definition of rape in the United States. Instead, each state has their own laws. These definitions can vary considerably, but many of them do not use the term rape anymore. Instead, using sexual assault, criminal sexual assault conduct, and sexual abuse, sexual battery, etc. This information was found to be true for most states. Most states do not use rape as the term. The state that I chose or found that did use it was North Carolina. North Carolina does have first-degree rape, second-degree rape, second-degree sexual assault, and first-degree sexual assault, which all basically say the same thing. The only differences in wording are if a weapon is used that determines between first degree and second degree. But not first degree rape and second degree rape, it determines between first degree rape and first degree sexual assault. They're still both exactly equal in terms of rape, and if a weapon's used, they're still both the highest level you can get, but second degree assault and second degree rape just don't involve a weapon. Which is kind of interesting. There is a presumption of some sort of abuse or fear of loss of life. Those are the reasons you can get charged with first or second degree rape in North Carolina. And the same reasons you can be charged with first or second degree sexual assault in North Carolina. The only difference is in sexual assault cases, one way for it to be first degree is if the victim is a child under the age of 13 and the defendant is at least 12 years of age. This all still sounds like rape to me. Really, there's no distinguishable differences until you get into statutory rape. Statutory is a rape of non-consenting minor based on the legal age of consent in the state where the crime has taken place. So the children have a safety net to throw the word rape around in a courtroom to protect them and to just show how much emotions come from these crimes. But women don't have the same ability because they are old enough to avoid rape. That's one of the major problems that happen in a majority of rape cases. Victims are often put up as witnesses to testify to a gruesome crime committed to them, and they can't even say the word rape, because a criminal defense attorney would object to that based on his defendant not being tried for rape. Taking away the word filled with emotion of the crime is almost like silencing the crime altogether, because people without legal knowledge, often filled with emotion, would be right to blurt out in anguish, rape. But that should be taken away from them, even though the way rape has been defined previously matches up entirely with sexual assault, but the word just doesn't have the same power. Sexual assault makes people think of it as less of a crime or less painful or less giving a bias to the defendant. Basically, throughout my research paper, I found out that there's 182,000 female victims of sexual assault or rape approximately in 2010 and 40,000 males. Out of that, 97 out of 100 rapists caught spend no time in jail. But I find it very interesting, specifically called rapist, because it sounds more shocking, doesn't it? If I were to say to you, that 3 out of 100 sexual assault criminals go to jail. Would it sound as bad? I understand words have meanings and they can lead to prejudice, bias, and gender issues. At the same time, though, when the word really isn't saying anything different, it's just trying to say it in a nicer way to get a fair trial, taking away the rights of the victim to actually accuse the defendant of a crime they believe was committed against them, then how is that a fair trial in the first place? The reason a lot of this happens today is because of the case that took place in the Supreme Court, well, basically in the 1970s, when they determined that rape could, if you were tried for rape, you could not be tried for a capital punishment, meaning you could not face the death penalty. Because the Eighth Amendment held that the death penalty was not applicable because in the case of rape, no one died. But many have argued for years that the emotional damage that is done to these victims of these horrendous crimes deserve to see justice via the death penalty. Coker versus Georgia is the Supreme Court case that held this Eighth Amendment capital punishment in place for many years. It's still in place today. The most recent is in 2008, Louisiana had a similar case, and it went to the U.S. Supreme Court and was struck down in Louisiana, stating that Coker v. Georgia made it unlawful for any state to invoke the death penalty in a case that doesn't involve death of another person. In conclusion, I will leave that up to others to decide, but as of this point, I think there's still serious need for improvement in the legal system when it comes to cases of rape, and I think that this research paper has shown that one of the first steps of getting that improvement is to use a harsh word in the context when the harshness evokes the true emotion felt from the victim of the crime, to give them true justice, at least on the inside, and to help them heal by letting everyone know the real pain, and to give everyone a sense of that emotion that they may be constantly faced with on a day-to-day basis.